gonna start with a very light blue. I'm just gonna put blue and white on my palette. And honestly, for the background, if you just want to keep your background white, I think it looks also very cool. You could choose to do a two-tone background like I did in the previous video, where we kind of make a floor space for our animal to sit on, and then like a wall. So you could do like a dark color and a light color. I decided my cat's just going to be kind of floating in space a little bit. It's just going to be the main point of the cartoon. So I'm just going to make a very light blue background because my cat is going to have blue eyes. So I think that would tie in really nicely. Because the blue eyes are the only thing that's going to be blue about my cat. So make whatever background you want. I'm going to go through hyperspeed on my background and I'll see you in a minute. All right, now that you have, no, let's try that from the top. You'll have your background done. So check mark for that. Let's let this dry. Give it anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. When it's completely dry, we'll lay down the first layers for our kitty. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna grab, now that your background is dry, I'm gonna use burnt sienna. You could use a light brown, you could use orange with some white in it to make like a cream. That would work. But we're gonna do these first layers of our kitty cat. I'm just gonna add to my white. But this is all about having fun. So have fun, you know. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine. Just enjoy the process. I'm gonna be using a 1/4 inch paintbrush. Nice and clean. And I'm gonna start with white. I'm just gonna pull a little off the burnt sienna. It's pretty wet. Should dry it off more. Anyways, we're gonna start with the head. So we're just gonna do a circle. We're gonna do a teardrop shape for the body. Okay. And once we get the shading and everything done on the head and the body, then we are going to add the back feet. Let that dry. Then the tail's gonna go in front of the back feet and then the front paws. So for right now, let's focus on just getting a really simple and quick layer done of the head and the body. And we're gonna do 2 triangles for the ears. Small little triangles. All right, we're gonna let that dry. It should only take a couple minutes to dry because it should be a relatively thin layer, but remember, it all depends on materials used, so we'll see you in just a minute. Let's make a cream color. I was originally gonna make a flame point Siamese cat because I had one once and they're very beautiful, but what turned out to be more of a tabby, like those orange tabby cats, and those are hilarious and awesome too. So I'm gonna stick with making a orange tabby cat or inspired orange tabby cat. Let's mix our orange. Orange is just red and yellow. Mix. Just a splash of red, not a lot of red. It'd be more yellow than red. So I'm just gonna keep this one color. I'm gonna pull from this white over here if I need to do a lighter shade of orange, but this will be my deep shadow color. As I need to do highlights, we'll just add white. I'm gonna grab my 1/4 inch paintbrush again, and here's what we're gonna do. We are going to, so the middle is gonna be like a lighter color. So we're just gonna add some white to the middle of our design, and we're gonna start pulling some orange in around the edges. Orange. So let's blend that together. I'm blending it by using if you just imagine you're carving a sphere out of clay, you know, we're going to be going down from the edges down and in. I'm going to do the same thing for the body. I'm going to add that nice orange color around the body. And for the body, it really doesn't matter so much because we're gonna put legs in front, we're gonna put feet, we're gonna put the tail, so just kind of a basic shape. So yeah, once again, I put all that orange around the outside, I had the white in the middle. I'm gonna blend in a downward, like a very shallow rainbow shape. Or like or a very shallow U. Okay, we need to get pink for the inside of the ears before we can do the out, so I'm gonna grab red. Just a bit of red. Just a teeny weeny bit of red. And I'm gonna pull white. I'm gonna grab my 1/4 inch paintbrush. I'm gonna pull white first so that we can get a pink. You can make a whole batch of pink. We will use pink for the pads of the feet and the nose also, but I'm often just lazy and I don't want to make a whole batch. So we're gonna make a triangle shape in the middle of the ear. Don't worry if it's perfect because we're gonna do another layer of orange around it and kind of hide any imperfections. So there's one ear. Here's the other. Nice triangle. Okay, let's let that dry. No, just kidding. I think we could add the feet now because the body looks good. That's all we're gonna do for the body. Grab your 1/4 inch paintbrush, give it a good rinse. Dry it off, and we're gonna go in with that cream color that we did for the base of everything else with that burnt sienna and white, and we're gonna make 2 circles. One on each side of the body. You know, they could be pretty big if you want those. That can look really cute. I'm gonna make medium size. Okay, now we're gonna let that dry for a couple minutes and I will see you guys soon. Welcome back. This layer should be dry. I don't know why I grabbed a new paper towel. I do not need one yet. Let's grab our 1/4 inch paintbrush and add a layer of light orange to the ears. So I'm gonna grab a little white first and then just dip my paintbrush in the orange And we're gonna go around that pink. Okay. I'm gonna make it actually just a little bit darker. We'll probably do another layer anyways. I'm gonna add some fur sticking out into the ear using the sharp edge of my paintbrush. Just in the inside corners. Let's go ahead and grab that 1/4 inch paintbrush again and do another layer to his feet. Now it doesn't matter too much because part of his foot is going to be covered by the tail. We'll just get a nice layer on. I'm going to grab a little white to put around the top edges of his foot. Clean your paintbrush off pretty good. Grab the white. You know what? No, we're gonna do a smaller paintbrush. We're gonna do his snout with white. So you're gonna grab the white, and so this is about the bottom half of his face. We're gonna make that teardrop shape that goes down and around. So pretty much just 2 circles. When we're satisfied with that, we'll add the nose when this part is completely dry. Remember, just have fun with it. You know, after second thought, the 1/4 inch probably would have been easier, but that's okay. Got his snout. His nose will go here. But what I think I want to do is I want to do the eyes. So I'm actually going to switch over to the 1/4 inch. So we're going to do pretty big eyes. I'm going to do the whites of the eyes first, so then we'll let it dry. I'm going to do pretty big ovals. And that's why sometimes these bigger paintbrushes, it's hard to get in the habit of, are easier to use. You want to use a paintbrush that almost feels too big for what you want. Because you want to try to get your painting done in the least amount of brush strokes. Okay, so those will be the whites of his eyes, his snout, and then we'll put a nice big pink nose right between those when both those aspects are done, because we're going to want the nose to pop forward in front of his eyes. All right, we can continue with this. Grab our 1/4 inch. We're gonna put pink on the pad. We're gonna do the pads of his feet. If this is dry for you, you can go forward and do that. We're gonna do pink. We're gonna do a circle on like the bottom. If you divide his foot into thirds, the bottom third is gonna be the big pad. And I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4 little ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we will let that dry completely. I'm gonna pull a little white and just kind of lighten up this top area as if there was like a light, a highlight. Maybe that's just my preference. I just kind of like those two-tone elements of like those random kind of cartoon highlights. Let's clean off our brush. We're gonna add a little more dark yellow to the ears on like the top part. Not like, but on the top part, I'm gonna add a little more dark orange. Also going to add a little more dark orange to the sides of his face as if they were stripes, and the top of his head. It's my smallest paintbrush that we've been using so far. We can add a little more fur with a darker color on top of that cream. I'm gonna go in with some white now to kind of continue this element of stripes. I'm gonna do that throughout the body too. I'm gonna wipe my paintbrush off. I'm gonna go in with all the dark first. Now I'm gonna pull some white and go in between the dark orange. Meow. All right, we gotta let's see, is this dry? We're gonna give this a few minutes to set, and then we're gonna go back and we can do the tail once these little tootsies are completely dry. Let's add the tail. We're gonna grab that white and burnt sienna. The tail's gonna start from the top of this foot. So we're gonna pull down and then go across. I'm gonna round the bottom of his tail. Sorry, not the bottom, the end of his tail. And this will need at least one more layer. Cute. Let's clean our brush. I'm gonna add a second layer to his nose. Second layer of white. See how much easier it is just if I would have used the 1/4 inch. We'll do a second layer of white on his eyes too. Have a really solid foundation. Let this layer dry. With our 1/4 inch, let's get another layer on this tail, but we're gonna do it in that nice creamy orange color that we made. Down and around. I'm gonna add just a little white to lighten it up a little. I'm gonna do a nice layer of dark orange on the bottom of the tail. Think of that as like a shadow line. I'm gonna go in with a little white now in that middle part, in the top. I cleaned my toothbrush. I cleaned my paintbrush off with my, excuse me, my stomach's making noises. I cleaned my paintbrush off with my paper towel. I'm just going in with a little more dark. And then we'll go through and once this is dry, we can make some, you know, tiger stripes on our little baby. That looks great. Clean off your quarter inch paintbrush, give it a good dry, and we're gonna go in with this blue that we used so long ago, and we're gonna do the eyes. I'm actually just gonna make downward strokes and then curve out each end because we're doing a oval, and that will be easier than trying to make a circle. Let's see. I'm gonna make them kind of cross-eyed. I think that would be cute. So my blue is gonna take up most of the space. I'm gonna bring it all the way down to this bottom line, this bottom white line. And just try to have them, for the most part, even. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking. I have like something stuck in my throat. My voice feels weird. All right, there we go. We'll do probably one more layer. And voila. We're gonna go through. This should be dry enough to add some tiger stripes. Pull orange. And do vertical lines down his tail. If yours isn't quite dry yet, you can pause the video and come back. I'm gonna pull white. We don't need like completely straight lines, you know, like just vary it, get creative, just kind of feel it out. Even down here, it's like I'm almost just doing a squiggle. And then blending it in. Do some over here. All right. I'm going through with just like a clean paintbrush and kind of just filling this gap in the middle, blending those two lines together. Let's let that layer dry completely. But this little part's kind of bothering me. I'm gonna just fix this so like his foot's popping out. The tail's in the background here, but then the tail's in the foreground up here. So I just gotta fix that for myself real quick. And do a little white. All right, see you in a few minutes. we are getting down to my favorite part where we add the details. Let's do his nose. No. Let's do a little more blue. You don't need to go through like and do all the full oval, but just kind of fill in any parts that you see white. I'm not even gonna go to all the way down. My blue-eyed kitty. Okay. Give that a good rinse. Is that his nose? Now, if you're like me and you just added more blue, just be careful, but we can always do a second layer, so no big deal. Okay. I want to do a pretty big nose, and I'm gonna have it be an oval, or like a very rounded triangle. A triangle with very rounded edges. Oh my goodness. Oh. Oh, look at how cute he is. This is like my favorite part, when we can add all the details of making this cartoon cat absolutely come to life. I'm gonna add a little more pink to his paws, just cause I feel like they need just a little more layer to help them stand out. Okay, this next part is gonna be really fun too. Give your paintbrush a good clean. I'm continuing with the 1/4 inch for now. We're gonna do his paws. So I want his front legs to come at an angle like this. This is gonna be like so we're gonna start with white, going down and touching the top of his tail on each side. Let me show you. I have an example, just in case you want to visualize it. So we're gonna be going down and around, and then taking a black marker or black paint and outlining just the outside edge of that. Okay. My kitty is just gonna have pretty white arms. I'm gonna add a little orange to it, but the first layer we're just gonna do white. Just little baby arms. Okay, so something like that. I'm gonna wipe my paintbrush off with my paper towel. I'm gonna grab just a little orange and put it on this inner side, so it's not such a harsh line. I do want a harsh edge on this side, but not as much on the inside. While we're waiting, I'm just adding a little more to the tip of his tail. All right, let's let those arms dry completely. And then I'm just blending this part in because I don't like how wide it got. The way it goes. I'll probably add a few little stripes on his front feet too. Yeah, they're almost like really long teardrops. Grabbing a little orange. All right. I'll see you in a few minutes. Three, two, one. Getting down to the end, folks. If you want to add a few stripes, use the sharp edge of your 1/4 inch brush and just add some wiggles. Just kind of wiggle it down. This only took me a couple minutes for it to dry. So sometimes you're gonna have to wait longer than others. It just depends. I'm using a really small layer. I'm just kind of pushing the paint around. Okay, that looks great. I'm gonna use a white. I'm using white over here, making sure that my paint is dry. I'm gonna use a couple big highlights on my kitty cat's eyes. But I'm gonna go through with my littlest brush and also do some small highlights. And I've kind of decided recently I don't really like a full circle, a fully circular highlight. I kind of more so want to do a wiggle and then like, what is that, like a U shape, just to give it something a little different. I'm gonna go dip my paintbrush in and add a little bit to this first highlight. Okay, so we have our highlights in. I'm gonna also add, if you needed to add a second layer of pink to the nose, you can go ahead and do that now. Otherwise, I'm gonna do a long highlight on the very top of his nose. And I think that we are ready to either outline everything with a marker like this. This is just a fine permanent marker, a fine tip permanent marker, or you can use a Sharpie, you know, whatever you have laying around. Otherwise, you're gonna put black on your palette and use a very, very fine brush. Oh, I forgot something. Before we do that, we are gonna put some splotches of red. So I'm gonna grab just a tiny bit of black. So we need to make a few little shadow lines before we go and outline everything. Tiny bit of black and a little bit of red, just a little bit. Grab your 1/4 inch. Make sure it's nice and clean. I'm gonna grab red and I'm just gonna do like a shadow underneath the tail. I'm gonna do a couple of shadows under the feet. I'm gonna do just a little bit of one under his chin, down the sides, around the feet. And that is about it. I'm also going to give him a little blush, some blushing cheeks. 'Cause why not? Okay. I can just see a little bit of blue, so I'm just gonna cover that part up. Perfect. I'm gonna grab a little more of that red and just kind of wherever you think you want it. It doesn't have to be anywhere specific. They're just kind of like shadow lines, just like we would do a highlight. So it might be under his chin. Very intuitive. You can let that dry completely, otherwise it's a very thin layer. It's gonna dry really fast. And if you're ready to go forward with the line work, we can do that. Line work and whiskers. So make sure your paint is really thin. I'm going to draw lines up around the ears, just in, you know, wherever I feel like there needs to be a line. It doesn't have to be a perfect outline. Like, we don't have to connect everything. They're just more so to accent. Oops. Doing line work, it takes a lot of time and practice. So no worries if you just want to grab that Sharpie. All right, there you have your kitty cat. You can give it a signature and get the tape off. And you'll have a beautiful piece of artwork. Thank you so much for watching and joining me. I really had a lot of fun creating this orange tabby cat, and I hope that you did too. You can share your creations at this hashtag on Instagram, and I can see them also. And I don't know, I just hope you had a lot of fun painting. That is the goal, is to have fun and be playful. So until next time, make sure you subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you guys on Tuesday for another video like this.